Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of BadgerBlitz TV. I am Jake Kocorowski, senior writer at BadgerBlitz.com. Of course, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics, from the recruiting trail inside Camp Randall Stadium and on the court of the Kohl Center. And folks, we're continuing our former Badgers to the NFL series, and you've seen him. Folks, this is obviously I wrote the book on the walk-on tradition of Wisconsin. I co-wrote it with Joel Nellis, who himself was a former walk-on. That's on the right there, as you can tell right there. But another great walk-on story for Wisconsin, coming in, earning a scholarship. Not just that, becoming a starter, and now a first-team All-Big Ten standout, a third-team All-American by the Associated Press. We got Josh Seltzner on the show. Just from, you were back home in Columbus, right? So how's everything going, man? And just, you've been busy to start off the year.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jake. I mean, things have been kind of crazy to start the year, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Got to play in the CGS All-Star game after the Vegas Bowl, and then a couple weeks after that, played in the East-West Shrine game, and had a lot of fun in both, got a lot of exposure, so they were both well worth it for sure.
It's funny, too, man. I mean, let's talk about that. What goes into the decision of, you have the two All-Star games. If it's okay, take us through the process of going through one set of, practices and evaluations, probably talking to personnel, and then, next thing you know, you're going back to Vegas and you see some other former teammates and you get to compete there.
Yeah, I mean, both games were a blast. Started off with the CGS down in Fort Worth and flew down there probably 5-6 days after the bowl game, and just got after it right away. Started doing packets that the scouts had for us to fill out and stuff like that, and practiced 3 times, and met with scouts down there as well. And then kind of the same thing at the East-West Shrine game, did a bunch of testing and stuff like that. Got into practice 4 days, and then I had a day off, played the game, and I really enjoyed both of them. I'm grateful for both games to be able to put on such a great showing and have me be able to showcase my skills there.
What were the differences that you saw between the two in terms of just how they were run or what they asked you to do, being a lineman?
I would say they were very similar in many ways. Like, practices were kind of similar. The only thing that was different was at the East-West Shrine game, we were being coached by NFL coaches. Like, our coach for the O-line on the West team was the assistant O-line coach for the Browns, Scott Peters. That was kind of a really awesome thing that they were able to do, because they were able to take NFL coaches and they used their terms and their play calls and stuff like that to really get us a taste of what it's going to be like at that next level.
And so you have, going back to that too, you've played the interior line throughout your Wisconsin career. Where were they plugging you and playing you, and just what did you feel you showed, at both of those All-Star games?
When I originally went down to the CGS the first time, I just played at left guard. It was where there was an open spot for the most part. And fast forward to the East-West Shrine game, I wanted to be able to show I can play both sides. So went out there, played right and left guard, and then I've been working center too. I didn't play at either of those games, but I know the more you can do, the better. The more versatile you are, the more worth you have to a team. So I've really been trying to focus on that left and right side and the guard spot, and then really hone in on my center skills as well.
What is the difference between that for those that don't know? And some people are like, oh, you're just flipping to the other side as right guard, but how different is that going to the right side? Because you have experience playing that at Wisconsin, but also, how does it feel to snap the ball? You've been on both sides of the center with either Caden or Tyler, or you have Joe this past season. But just how is it? How are the differences on that interior line?
I would say, just to give an example, it's like people who write with their right hand, it's like trying to write with your left sometimes when you're at a certain side, like the left side for so long, like I was the last 2 years, and then going to the right guard spot at the East-West Shrine game, it was like, I got to do this to be able to show them my versatility, but I haven't taken a right guard set in probably 2 years. So, I mean, it was definitely worth the experience of showing that I can play at the right guard spot, but I just got to keep working it, and it'll come as I keep working it. I'm very confident in that. So
And so within that, just with the All-Star game, I guess, talking, you had two opportunities to talk to NFL personnel. With those if you had that opportunity, what type of conversations do you have with those personnel? What are they asking you, and what feedback are they giving you for that matter, as to, your play and other things?
I would say for the most part, I felt like they were just trying to get to know me as a person, how I grew up, my sports background, like the family I grew up around and stuff like that. And then I would say probably 50% of the teams would usually ask me, take me through your favorite Wisconsin play, draw it up versus Iowa's defense or something like that, for example. And it was just a lot of fun being able to show the scouts my knowledge that I learned while I was at Wisconsin, because I feel like it's some of the best coaching and teaching there is at colleges around the country.
So on top of that, your second All-Star game, you got a chance to be around, obviously, former teammates with Matt Henningsen, Jack Sanborn, an old former teammate with Jack Coan and whatnot. Just how do you think they fared, and how often were you able to talk, catch up, chat with them, and talk about your respective journeys now, working towards the NFL?
Yeah, it was great to see those guys in Vegas. We all got to catch up quite a bit. There was plenty of time where we were eating meals together, hanging out before we had meetings and stuff like that. So I thought they all did very well and definitely helped themselves at the game. So I'm very proud of them, and I can't wait to see where their careers take them.
So now we're transitioning. I don't know if you can see this or not, but we put up a player slide for you. Just kind of recapping your career, right? You walked on to the Wisconsin program. Your UW Badgers profile talks about receiving the scholarship before the 2018 season. 43 career games, 18 starts as a Badger. You started 11 games at left guard for Wisconsin last year. You claimed, again, third-team All-America honors by the Associated Press, first-team All-Big Ten selection by the coaches. Have you had a chance to really kind of look back on your career as you're now, your collegiate career, I should say, looking back and just going from a walk-on, again, someone that took a bet on himself, didn't come with any financial aid, and next thing you know, you're not just making a scholarship, you're in the two deep, you're starting games, but then you're now an All-American.
Yeah, I talk about this to my parents and my girlfriend quite a bit. It's kind of hard to fully grasp them sometimes when I look back at it, just because like you said, I kind of bet on myself, and my parents bet on me, and because they were helping me pay for school. And just looking back at the entire journey, it was something that I couldn't be more thankful for the University of Wisconsin for giving me that chance. And I felt like I showed them how thankful I was by coming in each day and working my butt off. So
it's interesting too, and last year too, you started, was it 7 games before this past season? During fall camp, I remember talking to former offensive line coach Joe Rudolph and he was saying, you and I think it was Cormac Sampson, y'all were competing for that left guard spot and whatnot. And then obviously you win it, you go on to have the season that you have. What did you learn about yourself about this past season, on way to the honors that you had?
I think it was just me realizing that this is like my last year. I wasn't thinking about taking the COVID year already, so I was just like, I want to make the most of this, and I want to be able to help this team in whatever way I can. Whenever I am helping this team, I want to be able to play at the highest level so that we can win ball games and just really enjoy that last season.
And so I guess within that too, looking back is my always fun where my there we go. Now we have my stuff. This is the beauty of recording live, folks, with my software acting up a little bit. But I guess within that too, looking at next year, obviously Joe Rudolph's moved on to Virginia Tech, but you and Logan as well, Logan Bruss, are going on to the next level. Bruss was a consensus second team All Big Ten selection. Starting with the kind of interior line, who do you feel could be next up to take your spot at left guard, and just who could assume who will solidify that interior line?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think they're going to have a great center in Tittman. He was his first year starting this past year, and he's one of my best friends, and I'm really proud of the way he's progressed and working through stuff, and I can't wait to see the type of career that he continues to have. And then obviously Jack Nelson returns again, one of my best friends as well. His first year starting as a redshirt freshman. I am just like Tippmann. I'm proud of the way he's progressed. Like I feel like I was able to help those guys in the meeting room, practice, weight room, stuff like that. And so I just really enjoy watching them grow and training at Wisconsin now. Like for my pro day, I just get to see them each day, and I'm really thankful for that. As far as the left guard spot, I think there's plenty of talent that can take that spot over from Sampson to Fertney to Bordolini. Like there's a lot of options that are strong options throughout the board. So
I'd say too, I guess overall with that line, even just like, how do you feel, like how hard is it to gel 5 players or whatnot, or to even like pick and choose? Wisconsin, we've seen the line, one guy go down, another one steps up. Going into next year, how do you feel the line could shape up and plugging in those players to find the top 5 available?
I think that there are 3 guys that are going to have for sure spots coming back. I think Tippmann, Nelson, and Beach are all going to be on the starting line. I think they're all really good ball players, and they're going to showcase their skills next year and really lead that offense to some success. And then, like I said, I feel like there's plenty of other contributors that could slide in. Bordolini, he's a younger guy, but he's a strong, smart individual. He's already played quite a bit, started for Bross a couple games, played a little bit as a true freshman, and I think he could slide in there anywhere. I mean, Logan Brown, he's got all the talent in the world, and I think he has the determination to want to be out there and help the team. And like I said, those other guys, Fertney, Sampson, I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting guys, but there's just the way that Wisconsin line works, there's just so much time working together and talent that it just kind of spreads, and everybody kind of just grows immensely throughout this winter conditioning and spring ball. And I'm super excited to watch them next year, and whoever the 5 are, I know they're going to go out there and dominate.
Going back to your training, before we get to some quick hitters before I let you go, how is the training going? I mean, I got received, I heard about you training at Wisconsin and whatnot. How is the training going? And what, if you could take us through, just what type of schedule do you have to go through now in preparation for a pro day, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be early March?
Yep. Schedule's been pretty intense lately. Monday through Saturday training pretty much. Thursdays off. But, I mean, I'm still getting cardio and recovery in on that day. I have a really awesome agent. He takes me through some of the film work and teach tape and stuff like that as far as NFL terms and calls. And just going through the NFL film with him has been great, just to be able to try and get as far ahead as I can so that I can show scouts and other personnel from teams that I'm ready to go whenever that call is. So,
and within that too, before we kind of get into a couple quick hitters, with it, like, what will be the training schedule coming up for you, going forward for the rest of the time? Is it pretty much the same schedule that you've currently had leading up to pro day, and just what are your goals for bench press, or is the 40-yard dash something that linemen really? I mean, maybe it's the 10-yard split that's more people are looking more for. But what are your goals coming up for the events and just your performance coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for pro day. I love being in the weight room on the field training for stuff like that. So Coach Schnee has really developed a great program for me, and I think the only thing that's going to hurt me a little bit is playing in those 2 All-Star games. So I missed probably 2.5 weeks of training. So I mean, it was great exposure, so I'm very thankful for that, and obviously nothing I can do about it now. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I think I'm going for 30 or more on the bench. It'll be awesome. And then I think another one that's really important for the O-line is a 10-yard dash, like the 10-yard split throughout the 40. And I think with how I've been able to reshape my body, and that allowed me to really add some explosiveness, I'm going to shoot for a 165 in the 10-yard, and I think that would allow me to set myself apart from some guys and really show that how explosive I am.
Can we talk about that real quick, about the reshaping of the body? That's one thing I forgot to ask beforehand. Where are you at right now? How are you feeling? And just how did you reshape it, and what changes, have you seen from it?
I mean, going into my senior year, like I said before, like, this was my last opportunity to really help this team throughout the entire season, like, just stay consistent and I felt like I needed to kind of drop a lot of weight and add some explosive speed in there. And throughout the summer of 21, I really changed up my diet. My girlfriend, she's going to school to be a dietitian, so she was awesome helping me with that, like really focusing in on healthy stuff to eat to really trim off some fat and add to that explosiveness, like I said. So I felt like I did that, dropped down to 300, 305, and showcased that speed and strength that I had still when I was a little bit heavier. So.
Excellent, man. I would say some quick hitters for you. Kind of talking about next year. Go to the offensive side of the ball. In your eyes, who on the offensive side of the ball, who could be a breakout player in 2022 for Wisconsin?
Marcus Allen and Skylar Bell. I think they're super athletic, quick, fast. Like, I'm really excited to see those guys open up our offense. We've had great receivers the entire time I was there, and I think they'll continue that trend.
And then looking on the defensive side of the ball, who on your side, or who do you feel could be a breakout player on defense? That, you know, obviously a unit that has to replace a bunch of starters.
So he's kind of already been a breakout player, but I think Nick Hervig is going to have one heck of a season next year. He's really going to become that leader on the defense. I mean, he's already a vocal leader in that locker room and in the weight room, on the practice field and stuff like that. And just when I was there being an older guy, just seeing him step up like that and take that role, I was like, this kid's got a bright future for sure, and I think he's really going to lead that defense next year.
Absolute last question for you, Josh, before I let you go. Any good Joe Rudolph stories that you can tell on the record?
So the one that comes to mind is he would have us over to his house and the whole line for whatever the case was, and we would play horse and stuff like that in his basketball court. And he would always pull out the granny shot every now and then. That was he was pretty darn good at it too. He would probably 75% of the time it would be a swoosh. So
that's impressive. I would say I heard from a recruit once that he was the best bags player, the best cornhole player that he ever had too. So
yeah. He's competitive in everything he does. So I remember him playing Blake Smith back and Logan Bruss in a bags tournament. I don't remember who his teammate was, but got pretty intense at one point. So,
Josh, man, I appreciate you making time for us, man. Thank you again so much for your time. Been a pleasure covering you throughout your time at Wisconsin, man. All the best wishes. Hopefully I'll see you down there at Pro Day if they allow us in there, man. And, you know, best luck for that. We'd love to catch up with you down the road.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me on, Jake.
Folks, that is Josh Seltzner. I'm Jake Kocorowski. We're going to end it right here. Come back tomorrow. Why? I got our recruiting Q&A with Rivals.com analyst Clint Cosgrove talking more about Wisconsin, more recruiting. Stay tuned for more from Badger Blitz TV and BadgerBlitz.com. Have a great day.